Hello, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever in the world you may be. Thank you very much for joining me today. Bit of a strange one for me because normally we're doing this in a beautiful hotel, in a beautiful city, somewhere around the world. I can see your smiling faces, I can see your confused faces if I'm going a little bit too quickly. And today I'm stood in my kitchen presenting to a mobile phone balanced on a cardboard box on top of an ironing board. It's very 2020. Anyway, enough about my new reality. Let's have a look at virtual reality. First of all, just so we're all on the same page, what is VR? Well, when it's done properly, it involves a set of these VR goggles, and we use these to trick our eyes and our ears into thinking that we're somewhere that we're not. Now, that can be walking with dinosaurs, it could be learning to fly a space shuttle, it could be a university campus on the other side of the world. But VR is not always in these goggles. It can also be done on a mobile phone. When it's on a mobile phone, it's in the form of 360-degree video. So if you imagine you're looking through your phone and you're in a scene, as you turn 360 degrees, your viewpoint within that scene will change as well. You can look down, you can look up, you can look around. And we can also render VR for flat screens, for laptops, tablets, those kind of things. Most of what you're going to see today is exactly that, and we call that web VR. But the true 3D version is in the goggles. My name is Holmes, and I'm Director of Digital Services here at ICEF. I've been working with VR for 2 or 3 years now, creating VR tools for schools. Yes, we do that at ICEF. Full disclosure, you will be seeing some of our work, but you'll also be seeing work by some other great companies as well. And I am also a judge at the International VR Awards. In the session today, we are going to look at why VR is effective and particularly how it looks at the characteristics of the modern student. We're going to have a look at campus tours, virtual campus experiences, the good, the bad, the ugly, and we're going to give you some things to look out for if you're thinking about getting an experience for your institution. And then we're going to look at VR in a teaching setting, some really cool ways that it's being used in schools and universities to make teaching or to make learning more engaging and more memorable for students. Now, before we consider how VR works or why VR works, why it's so effective, particularly with younger people, we need to think about the characteristics of modern students. And fortunately, Cambridge University Press have done this work for us already, so I will just tell you what they said. They say that the modern student is, number one, they are more impulsive. Number two, they have a shorter attention span. Number three, they want personalized content. And number four, they want to see immediate results. And VR satisfies all of these desires, and that's why it's so effective as a teaching tool and as a recruitment tool. Firstly, VR experiences are self-directed, which means I can choose where to go, when to go, whenever I want. Each person takes a different route through an experience. I choose whom to interact with and when. And so this speaks to the desire for personalised content from the modern student, and also to impulsiveness a little bit as well. Not only can I choose which scene to visit when, but within that scene, I'm choosing what to look at, what to interact with. So if a student gets bored in a particular scene, they can literally just change the direction they're looking, and they're going to get different information, different scene, different stimuli. They can go through choosing whom to interact with, when, what information to get for themselves. So again, this speaks to the desire for personalised content and for impulsiveness, and also for the desire for immediate results. But I think that should be immediate relevant results, because I can choose what information to ignore and what information to engage with and drill down deeper and get more detail on. And finally, VR is multisensory. There is sight, there is sound, there's gamification, various opportunities for interactivity. If it's done well, there's going to be laughs and jokes and drama and narrative as well. And all of this means it's fun. VR is fun. It's a very engaging experience. On average, students will spend more than 10 minutes doing a campus tour or school tour in one of our VR experiences. Imagine trying to keep a student on your website for 10 minutes, reading your brochure for 10 minutes, even on your YouTube channel for 10 minutes. VR does that. Okay, so let's see how we can make it fun for students to choose where to study and where to live. We are going to look at the virtual tour. Now, I actually hate the term virtual tour because I've seen far too many that are literally just that. It's a tour of empty corridors and empty classrooms. I think that's a waste of the power of VR. To get the most out of it, it should be a virtual experience, a campus experience. You want to convey the atmosphere of what it's like to study in your school, to live in your city, to stay in your residence. Empty corridors and empty classrooms are not very persuasive. First, let's look at a simple practical application of VR that can be used by all institutions and all agencies, the virtual tour. Now look at this example, an empty lecture theatre. It's very hard to convince a student that one school is better than another by showing them rows of empty chairs. These rooms could be anywhere. This could be a boring office building, it could even be a care home. Now this library is an amazing building, and I know, because this is my local university, that this is the longest library in Europe, so why not tell the viewer? And in reception, there's a receptionist, but she's not even looking at us. She should be smiling and making eye contact. The idea is to make prospective students feel welcome. Now this is from Curtin University in Australia, and it's called the Agency. It's a social media command centre that gives students access to some of the programs and tools that they would be using if they worked inside a social media agency. Now this is a fantastic facility to promote. Just having access to it directly improves graduate employability. It's a competitive advantage over other universities in the area or other universities in Australia, and it looks cool. Now this is the perfect scene to showcase in VR, and these guys have got a lot of things right. The room is full to start with. There's a lesson in progress. The students look engaged in the lesson. There's text overlays that give the viewer extra information. But there are a couple of extra things they could have done to really immerse the viewer in this scene. Number one, the camera could be sat at a desk like the other students. Then the teacher could be talking to us in the same way that she talks to the other students, so we really feel like we're part of the class. And there could be some interactivity here. It would be great if I could click on some of these info points or something else in the room to trigger more information. Perhaps more text overlays, perhaps a video, something like that. So let's look at some other VR experiences and how they convey atmosphere as well as facilities. We have a guide who appears to be a student telling us some facts about the campus, how the experience works, but it's slightly confusing because she tells us to move, we have to click on the white arrows on the floor, but there's no white arrows in this scene. A positive is that there are lots of opportunities for interaction. I can choose to trigger from these students and the university mascot. This is a beaver, by the way. But why am I still seeing empty spaces? Beautiful spaces should be crafted into beautiful scenes, full of life and colour. Functional spaces should be seen functioning, but they should also have some elements of interactivity that make it fun for the viewer. Show students and parents why they should invest in you and your institution. Make them feel like they are really there.
How would you answer this question? Yeah, have you ever, have you ever been whale watching? So ask your partner, have you ever been whale watching?
I haven't been whale watching in my life, but I would like to. Okay. Because it must be very fun to see whale or a beautiful animal like that.
Create narratives that compel viewers to keep exploring.
Hi! We are having a graduation party. If you want to join us, you need to take the test. Good luck!
The first question is, when do you study? Right. Second question, you have to fill in the gap. The rain was heavily when I left the house. That's right. And the last question is another gap question. My father, his car for 2 weeks now. Fantastic. You can now go and join your friends.
Hey, you've made it to the end of the tour and you've passed the test. We look forward to welcoming you to our school. Congratulations.
So that's an experience made by us, ICEF VR, for International House London. And you can see we've used interactivity to show students why they might want to upgrade to one-to-one lessons. But it can also be used to illustrate and explain choices to students, choices that they often have to make before leaving their home country, such as whether to buy the bedding pack or the kitchen pack or the welcome pack. And most of all, prospective students need to see and hear from real students. Now, I actually think this is true of all forms of marketing and not just VR. A couple of weeks ago in Forbes magazine, there was a survey. It was actually run by the influencer marketing agency called Muse Find, and it found that 92% of consumers trust an influencer more than an advert or more than a celebrity endorsement. So let's examine the features of a good VR campus experience. Number one, accessible. It needs to be accessible on all devices, on all bandwidths. It may look best in a set of goggles, but make sure it works on a mobile phone, on a cell phone. Make sure it's accessible from tablets and from desktops. You've put a lot of hard work into making this the best experience possible, so make sure that everybody can see it, no matter what devices they have. Number two is a guide.
Hi, how are you doing? Come on in and explore our school. Get to know our team and get to know our students. There's even a party going on upstairs, but you'll have to take the English test first. Have fun exploring, and I'll see you later.
Now, ideally this is a student, sometimes it's a charismatic member of staff. Quite often we do it with a group of students, boys and girls from different nationalities. It just provides some continuity throughout the tour. It provides a useful way of explaining things to students, and it's just a very friendly, welcoming as well. Number three is navigation. Make sure it's easy to navigate, get around, easy for people to find the information they're looking for. You are competing for students' attention against Instagram and TikTok and their sister and the dog. If people get slightly confused or if anything's difficult to do, they will switch off and leave. So make sure it's easy, fluid, simple, and people can find exactly what they're looking for very quickly. Number four is interactivity. Embed interaction points into every scene wherever it makes sense. That can be one-to-one tests like we saw earlier. It can be switches and toggles to make things happen within the scene. And quite often it's video content, a trigger that will make a pop-up video play or make a video within a scene play. And that can be video content that you already have, marketing videos, or it can be videos that are shot during the filming of the VR experience. Number five is your students. We talk about interactivity and interaction points. The majority of these should be your students. As many different nationalities as possible, covering as many different courses as possible. I, as a viewer, I'm looking for information most relevant to me. So I'm looking for someone possibly of a similar age and gender to myself, similar nationality to myself, and studying either for the same reasons or the same course as myself. So the more opportunities I have as I move through a VR experience to choose to talk to hear from different people, the better the experience will be and the more engaging it will be and the more it will connect emotionally with viewers. And interaction points should be labelled so that students know why they are clicking on them, what kind of information they're going to get if they click on them. So you can see an example here. This girl is talking about her accommodation options at the school.
One thing really important for me here, I could learn this as well, is about accommodation, because you need to feel comfortable here.
And number 6, very importantly, a way to book, a way to inquire, a call to action at the end that leads to a very low resistance path for the student to get in contact with you, for you to be able to have their contact details and start nurturing that lead. And if you get it all right, well, this is the effect it has on the viewer. So, we've seen how VR can help you recruit students. Now let's see how it's helping people to learn. Language learning is something that's important to all of us here. So let's start there. Mondly is probably the best known tool, and it allows students to practice role-play scenarios, but without the need for a partner. The computer is checking that you get the right answer and that you have the correct pronunciation. You can see here the student is role-playing buying a train ticket. Immerse is a new platform, and it also allows for role-play scenarios, except for they're live and there can be a teacher and other students in there with you.
Well said. Where did you find the passport?
I found the passport inside of the drawer in the living room.
Are you ready to practice describing what you see when it appears?
And I'm pleased to say that this company, Immerse, are participating here at Virtual Berlin 2020. I haven't had the chance to get the full demo yet at the time of this recording, but I will do soon. And if you're interested, I suggest you reach out to them and do exactly the same thing. It looks like a really interesting platform. So we're heading to the Czech Republic now, to Mendel Grammar School. So this is a secondary school, and we're going to see students using the experience of the world of Comenius. And a quick fact for you here, because I had never heard the word Comenius before, so I looked it up on the internet. John Amos Comenius was a Czech philosopher, pedagogue and theologian from the 17th century who is considered the father of modern education. He was one of the earliest champions of universal education. Well, thank you, Mr. Comenius. But back to the 21st century. So this is a virtual biology and anatomy lesson where students can use just their hands, so no controller, no special gloves, just their bare hands to manipulate the body, to move parts of the skeleton around, to move organs, and get an idea of how the body really works and how it's structured. And there are also some less obvious uses for VR outside of the physical sciences. Law, for instance. The University of Westminster has built a virtual space for criminal law students, and here they hunt for clues to try and construct a murder case. So rather than simply reading witness statements, they can walk around a building and judge whether someone would have been able to see the crime and whether there would be a credible witness. Now, you don't necessarily need full VR and super fancy cameras to make an effective experience. This is How to Choose a Career by the Tulsa Welding School, and this was made with just a 360-degree camera. These are available for $150, $200. I have one here. We use them for scoping out jobs when we're doing VR experiences for schools. And you can see how this quickly communicates the notion of what it's like to work as a welder versus working as someone working as quality control on the production line of plastic containers. Obviously, they're saying it's much more exciting to be a welder. And then you can use that same 360-degree camera. I'll give you a closer look at how small and easy these things are to use. You can use this same camera to create engaging lesson content. For any ESL teachers watching, there's a fantastic lady named Lula Bordkosh. Her spelling is on the bottom of the screen. I suggest you Google her and look her up. And she uses these cameras to create very simple but effective lessons for her class, such as she will go to a drive-through burger restaurant with her friend, will film the experience and then play it back to her class so they can role play and understand the dynamics of this situation. So you can put the 360 footage from here on YouTube, on Facebook, and in fact most of what I've shown you today has been 360-degree footage. Obviously you're viewing this on a flat screen, so I can't show you the full version in the goggles, but the output from here, as well as being viewed on a flat screen, on tablets, laptops, phones, whatever, can also be used in these. And this is Google Cardboard, and this is the cheapest VR headset available to us. Any mobile phone can slot in here, user holds it up to their eyes, looks through the two lenses, and they have 3D vision. Now there's a lot of free content out there already for these. Obviously you can make your own with a 360-degree camera, but there is a lot of content already. And one I always recommend is Google Expeditions. Google Expeditions is amazing. There's 250, 300 different expeditions. You can take your students to ancient Egypt, you can take them diving on the Great Barrier Reef, you can take them hopping between planets in our solar system, all for a couple of dollars. We're all stuck indoors a lot at the moment, and VR offers us not only learning opportunities, but opportunities to escape and visit other worlds and lands and other parts of this world. And I think that's something we should all be taking advantage of. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Ross Holmes. If you have any questions, or if you would like a quote for a VR experience for your institution, please just email me, vr@icef.com. Thank you very much.